Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome back to Forge Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 4v4 ladder match on the Necrox's map generator, so let's go ahead and introduce our players, starting with red team up here in the northeast corner of the map, starting with the air player in rearguard air slot of Catawanga, going first land in orange. All the way to the west of him, we have Bladam going first land in red as a UEF. Further going on with Team 1, we have Naberwasser going first land in Crimson. Lots of UEF on this team. And last but not least, with Itch Salter, 4i4, just Salter. I'm going to call him Salter. Going first land as a UEF in yellow. So the racial disparities on red team, are 3 UEF and a Cybrin. So no Aeon and no Seraphim technology in their tool belts. Introducing blue team down here in the southwest corner of the map, we have Grumpy going first land in purple. Hopefully he isn't super grumpy in chat. To his east, we have Blue Dream going first land in teal as a Seraphim. Further to the northwest, we have Zigster going first land in navy blue as a Cybrin. Last but not least, for Team 2, for blue team, we have Just Q going first land as a Seraphim as well in blue. So on blue team, we have 2 Seraphim, a Cybrin, and a UEF. So both of our teams today are missing the Aeon technology. Apologies to any Aeon loyalists in the viewership or other YouTubers, of course. I can think of at least one person off the top of my head that comes to mind. We're having comms moving out at any time so far, because I see some movement on the northern side of the map, at least from Bladam going to the front lines, going after some reclaim, and then more reclaim as well. Reclaim on this map, it's very well spread out. Lots of reclaim pretty much everywhere. A decent amount of it focused around the center plateaus to the northwest and southeast, and lots of mexes. So we're going to expect our players to just have glorious amounts of mass to just throw at one another during this match. We have the comm of Catawanga moving up. Looks like they are going to establish... Nope, that was not them. That's Naberwasser. I don't know. He's just going to sit here maybe. Maybe he'll go to the front line and help Naberwasser in the middle of the map. Again, we have the very much traditional top, mid, and bot lanes, to use League of Legends terms. So we're probably going to see a lot of action here down in the middle. And of course, in this middle, at the top mid and bot mid, because it's like the middle alleyway channel thing. I don't know how much players are going to go after this northwestern corner. There's only 4 mexes relatively, so not a whole lot, especially when there's just 3 mexes right here. So maybe our players will go over here in the corners, but I don't expect them to sit there for very long. Nothing in the southeastern corner. A couple on these on this plateau, but again, this isn't really a good attacking avenue. So if you hold one side or the other, very hard to attack given all these choke points all which way. So we will definitely have to see if our players utilize that attack route. I highly doubt it, just given how tightly spaced those alleyways and valleys are. So we shouldn't expect anything. Maybe air units will use that, but not any ground. We have a Scorcher out here to the north. They're going to get shot down by those interceptors. We have this little tiny mole out here just kind of hanging out, not doing a whole lot. There's a enemy engineer just kind of driving by. And that mole is on a halt fire command, so it will not fire against that engineer, even though it is. Oh, can it not fire? No, it can't fire at all, excuse me. So it's just holding steady. Does it have stealth? Oh, it has cloaking. Okay, so it's not activating its cloak ability. And then it's going to sit right next to the engine. It's even going to boop it in its back. So maybe if Naberwasser's paying attention, he'll notice that and go take it out. We shall see. There is a hunter nearby going after the engineer, and then retasks onto that ass extractor. The engineer scoops up that mole and is now going to scoop up that hunter. So definitely a missed opportunity. Could have taken out that engineer, but it does survive for 31 hit points left. But again, very disappointing for Zixter here in the middle of the map. That could have been an easy, and those early mexes would have been taken out. Grumpy starting a T2 engineering suite on his chassis, on his left arm, left arm, and probably going to be using that to build triads here in the middle of the map to kind of hunker down, as the UEF do best. They know how to turtle. You combine the UEF PD with the Seraphim shields, and good luck trying to penetrate that fire base. It's going to be very impossible, to say the least. Seraphim shields are the best in the game. Bomber overhead in the middle for Zixter. I was going to say it's just cute, but that is Zixter. Sometimes the blue names over here, or at least the blue icons, since they're not names, since they're purple, kind of hard depending on the faction to tell the difference. So sometimes I look over here, look at the colors, be like, what color is who? Then I have to hover over somebody's name and be like, oh, that's right, it's the color. But I do forget once in a while, and since the colors are very close, it is kind of annoying because you can tell the difference between the crimson and red very easily for red team up here on the side of this little scoreboard. Of Nabarwasser getting assaulted by a bunch of these mantises, and the of Zixter. Nabarwasser having to retreat, inflicting damage to each other, but just some pod shots at this point. The of Katawanga is en route to help assist his brother here on his team. Fortunately, he is from a different race. He is I forget how the story works, but Cyberns are just like cybernetic. They're not cyborgs. I mean, I think some of them are synthetic. I can't remember if all of them are synthetic or not. I know they have implants and stuff, but again, I don't remember the story a whole lot, so I do apologize for that. It has been a long time since I played any of the campaigns. So again, I do apologize. You can school me down in the comments about how Cybern race works. I think it's a mix of both like synthetic humans and like augmented humans with like machine, kind of like Borg, but not really, obviously not Borg. To use Star Trek terms. We have the of Bladam here, pretty much at the front doorstep of Just Q, just saying hi, while his main land force is going to be going around assaulting the main land force out from Just Q on this plateau. Very defensible position. Very weird to see these rocks still like not scooped up yet, because each rock is almost 200 mass, or it is, well, it's 175, being surrounded by a bunch of small rocks. Of Blue Dream gets regen ore and then cancels it immediately, and then goes for T2, probably to build a fire base here in this choke point. What this does is it allows for this long line of units to crumple down to this line of units, so it's actually less of the firepower is brought to bear. Same with, again, over here on this side, that versus that. So very effective in closing off any run-by or flank opportunities for the enemy player. Looks like Salter did land some engineers on this plateau and is built a factory, just scooping up mass. More than willing to get that into his coffers. Surprisingly enough, Dream has not had a response to that yet, not a counter insurgency group for engineers or anything, just more than willing to give that to Salter. So very surprising. There was a run-by and fear movement out from these FAMs, out from Dream as well, taking out 1, 2, 3. Oh, they didn't grab that one, so well, these weren't grabbed either. They took out 1, 2. Are they going to go for a third one? That T2 would be a great bag early on in this game, considering it's only 9 minutes in. We have gun speed and range for the of Just Q, while Ladam's going for T2. So hit points versus damage is the difference in priorities for those two players. We have a T2 on the way for Nabarwasser. The T2 has been finished for Grumpy, and he's now building these triads. Looks like Zixter has the T2 engineering suite as well, and he's built some TMD. So very good mix of one player is defense, one player is offense. We have a flanking maneuver on the cards here from Dream, trying to cut off any reinforcement units out from Nabarwasser to the northeast. Nabarwasser is on an upgrade that is going to finish most likely. He cancels it in lieu of that. So forgive me for saying that. I thought he was going to complete that and then leave, but never mind. Mantises start to overwhelm that position, taking out all of the engineers they can. PD gets spammed up as quickly as possible, gets one of them out. Mantises focus fire on the PD. That's probably not a good idea. Go after the engineers building the PD. Navarwaster going on the west side of this plateau. We have the Comm of Catawanga coming in to support, and in lieu of going around to help support his teammate going after the comm, the Dream is going to go straight into the heart of Navarwaster's main production lines and start taking out these resourcing and production infrastructure. Checking out on T3 Air. T3 upgrade has almost been completed for Grumpy, and Catawanga has completed their T3 upgrade. Has already built the P-Gen, is now reclaiming his old P-Gens and going after biplanes, and then eventually I think those should be ASFs because we built 5 of them. And Dream just more than content in just spearing through, just doing a straight line all the way into however far they can get. This would be the area I'd go for. And I'm sorry I missed it. The comm of Navarwaster gets destroyed by all of this forces out from Zixter. Apologies, distracted for that move. And Salter saying, I'm sorry. I don't know if that's something he did. Navarwaster being like sad face, but all that infrastructure being handed over to Bladam, and now it is a 4v3 in favor of Team 2 in terms of players left standing. There's a lot of Team 1 units on this this plateau for Bladam, but unfortunately for him, there are some Ilshis in the mix, these walking T2 PD. They're going to be able to whittle down a lot of this incoming force. And the comm of Just Q pretty much being pushed off his front line position, being forced to fall back and go probably about here. Those are building up another fire base. More and more of these units out from Zixter trying to push against this forward operating facilities out from what was once Navarwaster. And again, apologies for missing that. PD has been spammed up to help assist in the defense. Only one factory goes down, but I mean, there's T2 and T1. Zixter moving up, fire basing creep. He has one back here and built one here. Wouldn't be surprised to see another one built right here. Just kind of slowly push that front line further and further, against red team up here in this middle section of the map. And you can see just the progress that Bladam has made, constantly pushing back Q. And Q just happy to just take out the PD being built by Bladam. Bladam should probably not just focus on that. Yeah, go for a shield and then build the PD. But looks like he's going to send his forces in first. The PD out from Q is going to start annihilating this small front line. Even though there are some T2 tanks and PD in the area, the forces out from Q are going to push Bladam back. They are focusing down the PD, and defenses would like to take out the radar so further PD in the backline can't fire on it, because they need line of sight to fire on it, or at least intel about the locations of the enemy to fire. They turn around and start firing on the comm of Bladam. Bladam gets 2 PD online. One of them goes down, the other one's still online, and this one is going to fall, of course. Looks like there's some targeting issues with these PD. For some reason, they keep like jerking off of the phrasing. Apologies. They keep misaligning their beam weapons, and they like miss the target for a few seconds. Gun speed and range going down for Catawanga here in this forward production factory. Wouldn't be surprised to see that be used offensively. Be a little cautious considering one of his teammates has already died to T1 pressure, so there is a huge spare movement out here from Bladam, just pushing forth as much as he can. However, it looks like reinforcements from Zixter are going to help cut off this incoming force, and engineers are on the cards here, spamming up PD, getting these walls to help protect these PD as well, help it survive those incoming shots. And since these units are kind of just dropping in one by one, a lot of the he's going to survive, and a lot of these men as well. It was a good movement, but not keeping your units together is definitely a disadvantage due to the fact that if you can't get all of your firepower to the front line as fast as possible, the firepower that you are trying to face against will be able to build up and survive the waves of attack. There's one strong wave. You're hitting small waves. And yeah, that does add up after a while, as seen in other casts I have done, but it sure takes. Still more combat going on this plateau, pretty much happening on Q's side of the plateau. All of that, there's a lot of reclaim still on this middle to northeastern side. We'll like to see some engineers just scooping up all of that reclaim, so as units die, the mass gets refunneled back into production of those units. Bladam, oh, sub 300 hit points, and he's going to get out of range. He stops for a brief second. The comm of Just Q turns around. He could have easily just gone and taken out the comm of Bladam. I feel like that is such a missed opportunity for Just Q. He could have gone after that comm and just taken the hit point loss, but that is definitely unfortunate, especially he has that gun upgrade. It's definitely a missed opportunity, of course, and Bladam's going to sit under that shield and wrap up his hit points. Barrier shields being used to stave off incoming plasma. Mongoose and pillars being used to force back these Ilshis out from Q, and it looks like he was going to have to fall back and go through this narrow channel here, and all the rest of his infrastructure is going to fall, and this plateau is going to be claimed in the name of Bladam and Red Team here on that northwestern side of the game. Blue Dream, not Solo Dream, Blow Dream is building PD. He's PD creeping slowly but surely to the front line of his opponent, Salter, here to the east. Wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe turn his units up this little plateau area and just start throwing and lobbing plasma at the enemy base here, at least his enemy base. Definitely a missed opportunity there. Building some artillery and launching it, but can't tell, hindsight 2020 and full vision and all that. Engagements do occur, but there's a lot of these Mongoose, so a lot of firepower going down. These Mongoose need to retreat, though. They are very weak, and the Ilshis are able to just fire lots of shells pretty quickly, I would add. A lot of those Mongoose do go down, unfortunately, for Salters. Mongoose are pretty much not a special case, but they are more of a, if you know how to micro them, they're good. If you don't, then they're not good kind of thing. So it just comes with experience and that sort of thing. I definitely don't have the APM and microing chops to deal with a huge horde of Mongoose that either I have or that I have to kill. So sometimes it's, some that just because you are very good at casting and pointing things out does not mean that you're good at playing the game in practice. So something to keep aware for everyone, that I'm not the best at the game, but I'm trying my best again to learn, and I feel like with every cast I get a little bit better and better at predicting movements and what units should be used and all of that. So I appreciate your patience with me as I continue to learn. And this force out from Dream is just going to hit a brick wall, even though there's no bricks here, and just be a mass dump for Salter on his front door. So not the best use of units, I would say. I would have held back. He is trying to do a move where he draws the enemy away from the front line and then pulls in a main force. That only works if the main force actually moves with the movement out from those forces, and so this is going to give Salter time enough time to pull his units back. There are some Titans on station as well, and this is not going to go well, and since there's not any T3 units here, it's pretty much all T1 with a couple Ilshis. We are having some PD being built, just constantly being built forward and forward. Don't see this really amounting to a whole lot. It was a good move on paper, but in practice not so much. There are some tanks over here trying to fire some pot shots down on Dream's units. Unfortunately, the PD in the areas is still able to target them on these little ridges, and that's going to amount to pretty much nothing, unfortunately, for Salter. Good move again in practice. In principle, in practice, not so much. Front lines pretty much for that northern side have stabilized. Torpedo bombers coming in. There's no water on this map. Bombers, T1 bombers coming in. The shield does go down, but the PD for some reason cannot hit the comm or any of those structures. I don't know if it has to do with the little waviness that's right here. Don't know Because look, they're shooting. They're not. You know, it's like slightly hilled, but it's almost like flat land. I don't see why those PD would have such a hard time of hitting the target. Oh, it's because they can only target up to this line. So it must be that they're on a fire order. Yeah, they're on a fire order to ground fire on that edge. And because they're still able to hit the shield, that's a very good move. The width of those shields are just wide enough to where the PD from Bladam is able to still hit them. They're still able to whittle the energy down on those shields. That's a very good move there, but unfortunately they can't hit the actual shield installation itself, so they're just going to regen. So something to watch out for. Lots of missiles being fired upon Q's position here. He is getting some artillery built up, but he needs TMD first and foremost, because one artillery installation isn't going to do squat against a squad of mobile missile launch. And there is T3 mobile missile launchers on the cards for Badam here on this middle section of the map. They fire a lot. It's a set of three missiles, and they do lots of damage. And they reload pretty quickly too. You can see the firing silo has three sections for those missiles. Everyone's saying make TML. Yeah, build TML here and then start launching it at Eco. That's a very good move and suggestion out from Naviwasser. Again, I do like to point out whenever dead players help their living teammates, because even though you might be down and out of the game, you can still offer advice and point things out and help your teammate win. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins as long as the team wins. Or who's left standing, it matters if the team won or not. So it could be 1v4 and your teammates could be helping you from beyond the grave, and you could win the match and they also win, even though they've been dead for however long it's been. So something to watch out for. Dead players are able to act as pretty much not radar installations, but the guy in the chair pointing things out, kind of like me, except they're only limited to half of the vision that I have. So again, still very useful, especially in team games where you can't always be looking at everything all at once. Huge T1 army out from Bladam, taking out that fire base, at least the shields and some of the PD. So these loyalists are on station. They're going to take out the rest of this force. This spearhead should not be moving forward. It's pretty weak in terms of hit points. And as that just showed you, it died pretty quickly to loyalists. So not really worth moving forward when there's just a bunch of PD to still take out, which is surprising because the Lobos haven't moved forward to take out the PD, especially them being closely grouped together. There's a brick on station as well for Zigster, so lots of defenses going down. These loyalists just, again, pushing through the front line, this very open front line, mind you. There's no defenses whatsoever on this western side of the middle, so definitely a misplay out from Vladam and red team in general. And what's nice about this is Zigster splits his forces up, goes after multiple sources of eco, would be my guess. Yep, gonna just walk this way, take out this T1 Mechs. They're only 2 mass a second, but this one is 6 mass a second, so that's 8 mass in total so far they've taken out. Speaking of mass, Team 2 is leading the mass generation game by, apologies for that, my game just like alt-tabbed out for some weird reason, so I apologize for that. That was very weird. Anyway, they're able to split their forces up, and we're talking about mass, and Team 2 is leading by almost 300 mass a second, and the total mass recruit is in their favor by over 80,000 mass. I keep flipping my numbers around. But Team 1 is trying to come back with the reclaim. And Team 1 is, leading the reclaim game, but it's just not enough to close the gap between the total mass accrued. 3 more T2 Mechs go down, one of them being fully ringed, and they're going to continue going further and further back. Need a second to let dog in, thanks. That was what that pause was about. I wish that pause happened when my game alt-tabbed for no reason. It just alt-tabbed and then alt-tabbed back in. So, I'm going to go figure out what that was. Maybe it was a notification on something else, and my PC was like, oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna alt tab you out of your game, and then alt tab you back in. Okay. Did it have to happen while I was recording though? That's always annoying. But again, I do apologize for that. Zixter has built an experimental at his firebase. It is a Monkey Lord. Is it my favorite land experimental? I don't know. I feel like there's the Colossus, which is really good. The Monkey Lord is really good. The Crab is really good. Obviously, they're all good in varying degrees of situations. There is a Whaler out here to the east. It is going to get shot down by some of this flak. Would like to see the Whaler prioritize the flak so it can be used without issue. But this force out from Dream is going to roll over this firebase out from Salter, and he has fallen back all the way to his main base. Probably not the best idea to stand next to two P-gens, especially T3 ones. But, you know, still not a good idea. Gunships appearing for Grumpy, trying to use those to take out outlying defenses and resource generation stations and infrastructure. That little Percy just being assaulted by a bunch of T1 units, and T2 units. Very, very sad for that Percy. I would just stop producing these units at this point, just due to the fact you're just wasting mass, having them be built. So, but unfortunately, there were some Whalers nearby that decided not to engage. There is a large force out from Salter to the west that I guess pushed forward and is now being chased by this Monkey Lord. And they will be able to deal with a lot of this force out from Dream as well. We are at the 25-minute mark. One player has been killed. That I missed. I do apologize for that. We did die to a bunch of Mantis. So again, I apologize for that. And if you've liked the cast so far, please like and comment down below. Who do you think at this moment, with the match generation, map control, dead players, all that, who do you think is going to win? Timestamp it down in your comment, and you'll see if you're right or wrong here in about 25 minutes. If that's how much left we have in the game. Yeah, obviously you can tell by the time code on the video. Time code? I know timestamp is a specific point in the video. I think it's time, duration, whatever the number in the bottom right hand corner of all the YouTube videos tells you how long the video is. Artillery being rained down by these trebuchets onto this firebase out from the dam, and it looks like, at least on the cards, Team 2, besides this little section of a lot of these missile launchers, control more than 50% of the map, even just going just a horizontal cut with a little bit of extra up here, of course. Let's see, is there anything else? They should just bring some gunships and take this little firebase out, producing a lot of these demolishers, which is what Dream should have been doing over here, these T3 artillery units, and just started shelling the enemy position. This Monkey Lord is being assaulted by these Whalers. There isn't enough anti-air support to wave off all of this incoming fire from the sky. You need E3 units, you need ASF, you need a whole bunch of stuff. And this is starting to be very dangerous. Team 2, they know that some of it is there. They don't know about the artillery units specifically. But it's definitely not looking good over here. They aren't super accurate, but them being able to do lots of damage to these units, to the infrastructure, is definitely not good. Especially it's mass that's just being wasted because it's just sitting there not doing anything. We have a huge line of, I was saying demolishers, of Ravagers built for Salter. Nothing is getting close to that base. That Monkey Lord better stay back because it will be annihilated. Even the Colossus will take a serious amount of hits against that battery of Ravagers. 50% chicken on the way for Dream out here to the east. He's being assaulted by all these demolishers, and the gunships come in. There wasn't any anti-air in the area. Definitely something that Salter should have done. Going after the factory, then decides to go after a wide range of stuff. Yeah, I'd say probably prioritize the missile launchers first, just to ensure that nothing can be launched at any other infrastructure. Which missiles get launched at the last second? There's still one left. Still one left. Oh, and it's dead. D3 factory is taken offline. There's going to be some mess. And Dream took a direct hit, dropping below 3,000 hit points just for a second. And ooh, a couple more shots, and that would have killed Dream. Oh, ouch. And that was probably what the initial idea was building all of that EML and just launching it at the comm. But I feel like at that point, you would have focused all of your fire from these demolishers onto the comm as well as those missile launchers. But I don't know. I felt like that could have been a better play. But again, it was better executed than a lot of other plays we've seen in the match so far. Forward operating factories have been taken offline for Team 1 here on this northern side. The ones that were built by Naberwasser. Huge army of these bricks. There's an experimental out from this Monkey Lord, as well as ASF are in the area for air support. Strategic missile defense has been pinged by red team. I don't know why they care about. Oh, that's why they care. They have a nuke launcher that's been built, and it's almost finished loading its first missile. So, does Team 1, does blue team know about it? Team 2 does not know that it's a nuke. They know it's something. It's too early to be artillery, so it could be experimental, but I don't know. I feel like a little too small to be an experimental given that profile, just based off that. So, and especially because it would be, I think, a diamond shape instead of a square shape. To indicate it's a mobile unit versus a stationary structure. All these broadswords in the area, they could easily go after this Fat Boy. There is SML. There is SAMs in the area. The shield is about to capitulate. The Monkey Lord, the Fat Boy turns around, dropping down into the yellow. The ASFs come in overhead to help annihilate the rest of those gunships. It falls into the red, and had, I think, those gunships been targeted onto that Fat Boy a little bit sooner, that would have died. Definitely a misplay. So a couple of misplays out here for both of the players on this eastern side. One from Salter and one from Grumpy, at least in the past 5 or so minutes. The fact that Q did not try to just run down the comm of Ladam definitely, you could say, was a risky play. But if at anything, he may have been able to close the gap to get a
strategic
raid, so they both would have died, but it would have reduced the player count to 3-2 instead of 4-3. We have a Fat Boy on the western side of the map, and the nuke has been launched. There is no SMD that has been constructed or even loaded, for that matter. And so this chicken will most likely finish before the nuke lands. It is almost a 15 by 15, I think. So there is a decent amount of room, but not, all the room that a 20 by 20 has. That chicken does finish, begins the walk away. Nuke is about to land. Kaboom! And takes out the main base of Q, all the core mass, most of the factories. Definitely a blow to his eco. His eco and his ego. Those words sounding very similar to another, considering they're only one letter apart. We do have the eco game of Team 2 at 1.8 generated eco versus 1.2 of Team 1. And that is amounted to almost 500,000 mass differential in favor of Team 2. Almost. About, I know, 400 and what? Wait. It's 420,000. Yeah, almost 500,000. But the ASFs get a terrible turn for Grumpy, and because of that, the gunships are just going to get annihilated. There are some Novak centers that have been constructed for the comm of Grumpy in the back line. And I don't like the placement of the SMD next to the Novaxes due to the fact that artillery shells or nukes could easily take both of them out in one shot. Would like to see them spread out a little bit more, even if they're just like back here in this corner. Something is better than nothing. Diversifying and decentralizing all of your important structures is very important in this. I understand the need for adjacency bonuses, all of that stuff. Those are also important. But you shouldn't focus on adjacency bonus just for centralizing literally all of your important structures. You have 2 comms, 2 Novaxes, almost a third, an SMD. A gateway's not that important. all in one little area, which even a Billy Nuke could hit all of those. We have another air push out here from Catawanga being supported, being the support for these whalers, and it looks like the whalers are on track to take out that SMD. The nuke most likely is loaded or almost loaded for for Catawanga and Bladam over there on the northeast side of the map. The SMD does go down, and looks like those ASF and gunships are going to bug out. A lot of them do die, unfortunately. And they all die, actually. And unfortunately for Grumpy and for Digster, this base is going to fall. Yep, that nuke just gets launched. So there's no hope of recovery of that base. It's just best to take all those units and run. Maybe even control K these Novaxes and suck up all the mash you can. Something. Anything's better than nothing kind of thing, because they're going to die anyway, and the mass is going to get evaporated anyway, so might as well try to take as much as you can while you can. There are 2 satellites going after the Fat Boy, but unfortunately for them, they're not going to be online for much longer. The nuke is about to make its turn and land onto the ground. Oh, sorry about that. And it turns, makes its landing. Boom, right on top of that T3 air headquarters. Takes out some brass comms, takes out those Novaxes, leaves 1 T3 factory online, but again, 2 Novaxes, gateway, huge air grid, definitely mass efficient nuke there. Very good placement out from Bladam and Catawanga. I think it's owned by, yeah, it's owned by Catawanga. Pointing out another SMD. Looks like that is going to be the next target for that nuke, would be my guess. They're assassinating the SMD and then launching their nukes when they have the nuke pretty much in the clip. I say that's a very good move. It's good to take out SMD all the time, of course, but having the nuke pretty much ready as you fire the as you fire the nuke allows for less time for the enemy to rebuild the SMD. But unfortunately on this western side, we have a push out from 2 players on Blue Team Zixter and those 2. They're going after Bladam's main base, going after P-Gens, going after that Fat Boy. Fat Boy is going to go down once that P-Gen explodes. Yep, it goes down. Another P-Gen explodes. The chicken is almost dead to these whalers and other nearby units. It falls. There's another chicken in the back line on approach. All of these bricks are just going to get annihilated by that ion storm. E3 factories are the priority. There's multiple HQs. You don't need to build multiple HQs unless you want redundancy, especially if they're not right next to each other. You just can build regular T3 factories and have them assist the main factory. Bladam being chased by these Offens. The Offens not prioritizing the comm. I'd say that's very much not the move that I would do. These bricks are going around the eastern side. They should have split. At least split, or at least most of them gone this way to the comm, getting that confirmed kill. But I do like this split out from Zixter, going after this resourcing options for Catawanga, reducing their generated eco, which allows for Team 1 to get the advantage. The bomb lands on that little hill. Had it gone forward, it could have killed the comm of Bladam. Definitely a sad note for Q. It's the second time he's almost killed Bladam. Bladam must be feeling the pressure here. SMD being marked by red team again for nuke purposes. And all of these whalers coming out from Catawanga are just getting tons and tons of value. Taking out all the bricks. These bricks taking out 6, 7, I'd say a dozen or so, if not more, of these mass extractors. Nuke is shot from its silo and it's going towards the main base of Zixter. That SMD is not loaded, unfortunately, for Zixter, so if it lands here, that's going to be a loss for him. But I think he's going to go deep further in. It's going to go after the comm of Zixter. Zixter is not moving. This nuke is going to land. Zixter, you got to get out of there if you want to survive, dude. You got to keep going, but he's not moving. He's just going to accept his fate. And that nuke almost headshots him, and that is a kill for Team 1, making this now a tied game at 3v3 players still alive in the match. The Megalith not dying. It is low. I was like, whoa, that was transfer control, I guess is what that was. Slowly losing hit points though. This is obviously not being built. And it looks like Otham's trying to go after the column of Bladam, but there's just too much firepower from the skies. 3 Fat Boys here on this western side. There's 2 Fat Boys on this eastern side, and all of the gunships. So blue team not able to make any progress on the land game. They need to get their air game up and running, get ASFs, get strap bombers, get anything and everything, even experimentals. Build an Awasher. Build literally something to take out all of the enemy units. There's no Aeon, so you can't build a Tsar, which is, would be also very good. But you gotta find a way to win the game. It's almost 40 minutes in. Has to be something in your mind that says, okay, I've reached X amount of time in the game. I should be thinking about game enders. I should about T3 RD. I should be thinking about, either it's just experimental spam and just like throwing it at the enemy in waves kind of thing. Just anything and anything to end the game, because it's one thing to start the game, get your eco up and running, get all the the introductory stuff out of the way, but eventually at some point you have to win. And you're doing that by destroying the enemy. The enemy doesn't usually just give up. And a huge squadron or multiple squadrons of bombers come for the comm of Just Q on this western side. ASFs come in to try to support and take out those bombers, but there's just too many bombers incoming. Just Q just trying to dance the best as he can, trying to avoid any and all shots he can while reinforcements come in to support. Looks like the comm of Just Q is on his own, and all of this firepower coming from the skies, all of these dudes coming in, and they annihilate that comm. And who says T1 bombers aren't effective at 40 minutes into the game? And this now goes from a 4v3 to a 3v2 in favor of Team 1, the red team, in the northeast section of the map, leaving just the comms of Grumpy and Dream to fend for themselves. Do we have anything priority? Ooh, what's this? We have a Yolana Os under construction, so they are going for game enders. Finally, almost 40 minutes in, and not that they don't have the 2,000 per per second or per. Is it tick or is it second? I think it's second. Correct me down in the comments if it's mass per tick or if it's mass per second. I think it's mass per second, but I could be wrong. At least that's what I would assume. But the Yolana Os is starting to be built pretty quickly. I would like to see more engineers. It's not like they don't have the mass to support it. I mean, Dream has 42,000 mass in the mass bar, and Grumpy has 92,000 and can't spend it all. Here's an idea: build some engineers for Bio. Transfer control over to Grumpy, and then pool resources together to build that faster. That's a lot of mass to just be wasted. And that's the thing some people don't realize, is that you can only fill your mass bar, to the end, of course, to like 100% full. Then it spills over into your teammates. And then after that, but some of that does get just kind of like thrown on the ground. Like you can't use it. You can only hold so much. You have to be constantly spending mass on something, even if it's just units, even if it's structures, even if it's just literally just spend it, because it's just money that you're leaving on the table, or in this case, resources you're leaving on the table. These Fat Boys are being used to push back the front lines of blue team here in the eastern portion of the map, or I guess just the eastern portion of the map. Artillery is now raining down from the skies from this Duke installation here out from Salter. We also have a Duke being on the cards for Vladam here on the northwestern side. The Nuke again has one Nuke in the clip. Little Percy hanging out, just towering over all those engineers. Like, imagine if you were an engineer. Look how tall that Percy would be. Just like it's like you talking to your brother. Oh, and Blood Dream gets killed by all of those gunships. Apologies for missing that. I was distracted by a Percy. And it now goes to a 3v1 in favor of Team 1 in terms of players that are still alive. And the artillery is raining down onto the air grid that was once Dream's. The Yolana Os is now cleared. It's not building. Why isn't it? Oh, Grumpy needs to re-initialize the build order. And you can just tell Grumpy has the mass, 110,000 mass in the bar, and it's still positive. So that needs to be a priority number one right there. Oh, good, shields. The artillery is raining down against that air grid, so definitely a good thing to do. Lots of gunships. They're taking out all of these experimentals. There are flak on these chickens, but not a whole lot. There are a couple lightning tanks in the area as well. But it might just be an APM thing now. Looks like as time goes on, more and more of map control falls into red team's hands because there's 3 players, so they all have the same amount of APM. It's 3 times the APM available for red team versus blue team, or I guess Grumpy at this point, since it's only him left. Grumpy is hanging out next to a SMD that is loaded, so, and he is building a Duke. At the same time, he's building a Yolana Oz. Does he still have mass in the bar? He's just started to be negative, so that bar is slowly going to get whittled out, but there could be like 20 more engineers on the cards over here just to prioritize the building of that Yolana Oz, because he needs a win, and he needs it now. He's starting to be hemmed in as time goes on. You have 3 Fat Boys on the western side. Again, you have a couple Fat Boys on the eastern side. Artillery raining down all the time. ASFs just being annihilated by enemy ASFs. Air control definitely in the hands of red team. You can just... Oh, apologies. The high ground being taken by these Fat Boys, able to just fire without fear of reprisals. Fear of... not restitution. Retaliation out from... Grumpy here, and they're just going to take the high ground and just fire all of the incoming shells that they want. And not all of them are landing, but there is a nearby horde of whalers out to just finish the job of that lightning tank. Let's see, let's check back on that Yolana Oz. It is 50% completed. Those nukes load very quickly, so there's not a whole lot of SMD. There's 3 anti-nukes in that one. There's 5, so that's 8, so that's 4 missiles that can essentially hold off. Wait, yeah, 4 missiles. Is there any on this western side? There's 0, but it's not loaded as of right now. There's 1 built, but they could go after Vladam and kill him. But there are now 2 artilleries being fired upon Grumpy's bases. These Dukes, they are getting, you know, their rapid fire assistance from these ringed E3 fusion generators, so they're able to fire quicker than just the standalone artillery. Gotta be aware of that adjacency bonus all the time. I would like to see a couple more shields surrounding both the SMD that's located here and the YOLO, just in case those artillery shells pierce. It lands, takes out one of the shield generators. If you had more shield generators, that wouldn't be a problem. And that air grid's starting to capitulate for the most part. Shields are being, you know, constantly built up. I would like to see both of those artillery land on that same spot, because the YOLO is definitely the problem. Because if red team allows that YOLO to stay alive, it's almost game over, because the fast pace, the fast rate of recharge on the nuke, plus just the devastating power of the nuke, plus the fact it takes 2 anti-nukes to take 1 nuke out from the Yolana Oz. It's just, that thing needs to be priority number 1, kill, like, you know, high value target, priority number 1 kill order on the Yolana Oz. And the artillery is now, both of them are now firing onto that Yolana Oz. And somebody was mentioning it to me on the last video, but once you have artillery for both teams, usually one team, but at least both teams, if somebody else is building a game ender, or if somebody else, like in this situation, that artillery on the enemy team gets locked pretty much in the position of, we have to target this thing, because if we don't, it will kill us. So what that allows you to do is it allows you to just use this as use this as a distraction essentially, and then build a secondary artillery, or build something else off to the side that they haven't noticed yet, and use that against them at the same time that you're building your main objective, which in this case is the Yolana Oz. So it's pretty much using what you have as a distraction, and then building something else the enemy doesn't know about, to then combine together to then just roll over the enemy. And that Yolana Oz is going to finish. its last hit points, and the last coat of paint is being put onto the structure, and it is now finished. The nuke is currently loading, and pretty much all of the requirements to help load this nuke faster is mass. Oh, no, those are for that's for the shield generator. So the more engineers you have, the faster that nuke loads, essentially. Just artillery raining down constantly. Artillery raining down from these. Well, looks like they took out one of the fat boys. So 5 of these fat boys just constantly. That fire base that was once Zigsters, which is now Grumpies, has pretty much been taken out. Trying to pump out these Medusas for cannon fodder, but unfortunately the secondary guns on these fat boys are strong enough to take out any T1 units. And the first nuke has been loaded. Does it fire? It does, and it's going after the fat boys very far back, unfortunately, and I think this nuke is going to miss, not be able to hit those fat boys. That's definitely a misplay there. Could have gone after the main base, could have gone after something else, but unfortunately this nuke is going to miss. Where'd that SMD go? Oh, it looks like the artillery took out the SMD for Salter's base. So that, or at least his fire base. That's disappointing, because that nuke could have landed and taken that out. So, and look, completely misses those fat boys on both sides of the middle. And now pretty much this next nuke has to be used for defense again, because of the miscalculation of the fact that the fat boys were going to move. This is not going to go well. The second nuke is launching. Where does it go? It's going after that fire base out from Salter. That nuke eliminator, the SMD, was just built or rebuilt, and that nuke is going to land. Unfortunately for Salter, it's not really, or it is going to suck that he's going to lose that fire base, but his fat boys split up to avoid incoming nuke missile fireage. But it doesn't matter, because the nuke doesn't go for them anyways. So there's a third artillery shell landing. Looks like that is coming from the main base of Salter. He's has 3 Dukes firing onto that position. There's a couple chickens up here on the northern section. Would have liked to see them go around and go after the column of the dam just to whittle down APM at this point. Shields are capitulating. Artillery installations being hurriedly built to try to fend off these incoming fat boys. One fat boy has lost his shield. Incoming artillery will probably kill this fat boy, but the shields have capitulated on and around that Yamana Os. The Yamana Os explodes, taking out the rest of the engineers nearby. The SMD goes down as well, and unfortunately for Grumpy, that was pretty much his only tool left in his toolbox. He does have one arty, but the incoming squadrons of whalers and scrap bombers are pretty much going to finish him off. Here they come. They're going after... Why are they going after the air grid? Comm's right there, and the pings go down to take out the comm. Scrap bombers repositioned to take out the comm. They launch their nukes from their slots, their payloads. One shield goes down. Next shield is about to fall. Lots of ASF overhead to act as target saturation. The whalers go after some of those engineers. They see the comm. Another shield falls. Another shield falls. And now they're going to take out this PGen, taking out some hit points on the comm. Very good move there. And then the rest are going to fire onto the comm. The comm is dropping below 3,000, 2,000 hit points, 1,000 hit points. Kaboom! And that is going to be a kill for red team, and just a huge horde of strap bombers go overhead just to make sure that he's dead. Thank you so much for watching. Red team won that match. I mean, they were down a lot. They were down like 2-1 eco, and they still won. So eco is not always the barometer or the measure of who's going to win or who's going to lose. It's how you use the eco that's even more important. And blue team didn't use their eco advantage as much as they should have, and because of that, they ended up losing the game. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate your time, your attention, the eyeball, focusing on the video, or even just having it play in the background. Thank you so much. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you for helping me reach over 300 subscribers. Just so very grateful. And again, Please comment down below if you need me to fix if the audio levels or the camera angles, drawing with the little drawing tool, this thing. Let me know if that's been helpful, not been helpful. Just any and all comments. I greatly appreciate it and look forward to reading them all. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you, everyone, in the next one.